So Udemy just decreased your income revenue share even more. Let's talk about that. So if you don't know how actually Udemy is calculating revenue share for instructors, you can go check a video that I have right now somewhere in the card or in the description down below, where I explain in detail how Udemy is giving you its revenue share as an instructor, of course. So a few months ago, in around December of 2019, I received an email from Udemy telling me that I need to fill my tax information. So I did that. I filled my tax information. It turned out that Udemy were actually preparing for taxes, meaning that they were preparing to withhold some of your income for the tax purposes. So in February of 2020, in the end of February 2020, they actually started implementing this tax thing. And from now on, you will receive less income from Udemy. And let me explain how this affects you and how this affects me and how this affects everyone, including Udemy itself. From the March 2020, all the payouts made out by Udemy will be taxed. This means that this concerns payouts that were made after the March of 2020, not the money that you make after the March 2020. This means that everything from the January of 2020 now will be taxed with a withholding tax. So let me explain how this actually works. So because Udemy is an American company, it needs to be taxed under the American rules. And if you're not a US citizen, if you're not a US resident, that means you usually are not taxed under the US law because you are not getting income in the US. Again, I'm not a tax expert, so you can just double check this information yourself. But from now on, Udemy is obliged to tax every transaction happening between them and US buyers with an withholding tax. So what does it mean? When the buyer that is located in the US, the US citizen or US resident, or anyone who is making purchase in US, buying something from Udemy, this transaction is counted as a transaction between the buyer and the Udemy itself. You instructor do not play any role in this case, and Udemy is then paying you money, the revenue share that you actually earned from this transaction. So from now on, from the all sales made in the US, Udemy will actually tax this share, this revenue, with a withholding tax. And it is different depending on what country you're in. For me, it is the 30% taxing, meaning that all the money that is made from the US sales, it will be taxed before it will be paid out to me. So meaning that I'm losing all the money that has been made from US sales from January onwards. Thankfully, this does not concern any other sales made from the other country citizens, meaning that you will be taxed according to your country's legislation in your country, wherever you're living and whatever tax rates you have. But all the sales made in US will be taxed with the withholding tax. For me, it is the 30%. For you, it might be different. Than what Udemy says themselves, I think there are some category of people that filed some specific tax documents. They will be taxed with a zero, actually, meaning that I think this concerns the US citizens, the instructors that are located in US. So I'm not sure about that, so I'm not going to talk about this. But for me, I will be taxed from now on the US sales with the 30% withholding tax, which I will not be paid. So is it bad? Does it affect me as an instructor, and will it affect you as an instructor as well? Well, Udemy income is still income, and it requires to be taxed on whatever you are, no matter what country you are. It requires to be taxed. So I still was losing some money from the taxes. So it's not, if you think about it, it's not a big deal. But the big deal is actually the amount of taxes that I have to pay now. So from now on, I will be losing 30% from every sale made in US, meaning that it will decrease my revenue share even more from each individual sales. And if you think about it, half of all my sales, almost half of all my sales are coming from the US. So overall, if you will count something like that, I will lose to tax before I will even get paid around 10 to 15% of all my sales. Is it a lot? Well, depending on the country that you live in. In my country, in the country of Georgia, I qualify as a micro business, and the micro business is taxed only with 1% of income tax, meaning that I have really small amount of taxes. Well, at least I had before that. And unfortunately, the withholding tax that Udemy is taxing us with, not Udemy actually, the IRS is taxing us with, has no analog with in many countries, meaning that it's not the same as income tax, meaning that despite this amount of money has been taxed already, I still have to be taxed again because I'm paying different tax now. It's not the same income tax, I'm paying a different tax, so meaning that I will have to be taxed again. But again, this is depending from a country to country basis. So for you, it might be completely different. So if you're interested in that, contact the registered tax official or anyone who would understands this stuff more than I do, of course. So from now on, every instructor will be losing some of their income. And I will be showing exactly how much income I lost in the revenue report that I will be making in just few days. But is it Udemy's fault that this happened? Is Udemy actually decreasing our revenue share? Well, actually not. Udemy is a company that is obliged to work under government regulations and under regulations of IRS, and they are obliged to follow the rules that they are basically imposing on Udemy. So Udemy practically cannot do anything about this. And all this tax is not going to Udemy's pocket, it's going to the government's pocket. So basically, US government is taking money from me without me being in the US, but it's complicated stuff. But yeah, it is what it is. It happened. So we cannot do anything about it unless you are a US citizen and you can vote on something about that. Or I don't know, I cannot talk about this, so just me personally, I cannot do anything about this. And the question is, will this affect other online platforms as well, like Skillshare? Well, I'm not sure exactly, but the Udemy is calling its payouts payouts, meaning that it's being taxed completely differently, while Skillshare is calling its payouts royalties, meaning that it's probably will be taxed differently. So I'm not sure if this will affect Skillshare as well in the future, but we should cross fingers and wait what will happen. So overall, this was it for today. I just wanted to give you these news updates because this is pretty important update for anyone teaching on Udemy. And well, I hope it will not hit you very hard, but losing even 10 to 15% to the tax when you should not lose this amount of money, it's actually not really good. But I'm pretty sure the majority of the people who are being struck with this still had to pay 10 to 15%. So it will not be a big problem for everyone, but it will be some problem for some. So this was it for today. Thank you for being with me. Like the video if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this one. And guys, I'm gonna see you in the next one. See ya.